Hello friends and welcome to Wooveboxing, the channel all about the Woovebox. Today we're going to go over the Pan Page. Please listen with headphones or monitors, or at least speakers that have a bit of separation between them. If you're listening to this on a laptop or a phone, you will most likely not be able to hear the stereo effect. So before we start looking at the Pan Page itself, let's answer a couple of questions. What does pan mean? Pan determines where you will hear the sound in the stereo field. And the second question is why use panning? One of the standard use for panning is to make different parts of your mix easier to hear together. For example, if you have a couple different hi-hats, you can have one panned a little bit to the left and one panned a little bit to the right. You can also do this for melodic elements as well. So you can have pads be a little bit left and then maybe an arp a little bit right. And we'll go over this in this video. You can also use panning creatively. You can use it to create ear candy, introduce variations in the sound. You can also make a tremolo-like effect using panning. And this gets really fun when you start using LFOs, which we will cover in this video. To get to the pan page from the sequencer, you turn the value knob all the way to the right until you see pan. And just a quick refresher on how this works, every lit key is a parameter. You can hold it down to see what that parameter is. If you hold it down longer, you get a longer name. And then to change the value, you just turn the encoder. If you want to quickly reset the value, you can just click 0. The first parameter is the pan control itself. So if you turn it to the right, your sound will go to the right. And if you turn it to the left, your sound will go to the left. Let's demo this real quick. So you can hear that going to the right. And you can hear that going to the left. So here's a little drum groove. Cool. And now let's add some panning to all of these, except the kick. We'll keep the kick and the snare in the center. So we'll take this first hi-hat and pan it to the left. Here we go. And then we'll take this second hi-hat or whatever it is and pan it to the right. And we'll take this little percussion thing and pan it, let's say 40 to the right. So now, if we are listening to our little drum groove, you can hear that the different hi-hats are on the left and right, and that our little percussive thing is much more to the right. The next control is pitch to pan. So if you turn this all the way, low notes are going to be on the left and high notes are going to be on the right. This is pretty cool to add some kind of depth to your sound automatically. So now you don't have to, I'm using 127 here. You can just use, 50, and then the effect will be a little bit more subtle. But if you have some arps going on with different chord progressions, transposing that arp, you can get some really cool results with that. Next is the Auto Pan LFO, and this is really cool. So you have the wave, you have the depth, the rate, and the usual sample and hold. For the waves, you have noise, you have sine, triangle, saw, and square. Let's just use a triangle. I have a patch here with a lot of sustain. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put one trick down and I'm going to make that really long. Let's solo that, and then when I hit play, you just hear this continuous tone, okay? So let's go back to the pan menu, and then we can start adding some depth while I'm playing the sound. You can start hearing it. It's auto panning the sound left and right. Now we can change the rate. This can be nice. Now, this can actually make some people feel uncomfortable, so you can also just lower the depth. So it's a little more subtle like this. It's kind of cool. You can increase the rate. This also gives the sound more width. And if you want to add further variation, you can use the sample and hold. This is always fun. And always experiment with the different waveforms, see what you get. There you go. Now, one quick thing on this, if you're using the noise waveform for the AutoPan LFO, rate is not going to apply. So you can use the hold to add some variation. So let's set that up real quick. So we're going to use the sine. There you go. You hear this kind of, there you go. You can slow that down with the sample and hold. My settings are 66 here. This can give some interesting texture. It's kind of cool. It's like a random panner. Very cool. All right, and the next one is the start position LFO. This LFO controls the pan start position around which the AutoPan rotates, and this LFO gets triggered on each node on event. This is super useful if you want to get a different value for every hit. So right here I have a hi-hat, which is just 2 notes, except this one has a lower velocity. And watch as I turn up the depth when I play this, it's going to start to move the sound around randomly, which is a super cool effect. And now it's not subtle. Very cool. Now here I'm using the noise LFO, but we can use sine and then add a rate. Let's go with 4 steps. Yeah, this actually can add a little more groove in your groove, so to speak, if you sync it. And then you still have your handy LFO on the side if you want to add more variation. Very cool. And last but not least, a couple of other panning / stereo related settings. If you go to the global page, you can turn on some chorus. And chorus makes it gives the sound more width. And we'll add some chorus. See, you can already hear that width. Now I feel like it's literally in my brain. And another one is you can go to the song mode, and under effects, you have a couple of delay parameters. On key 3, you have the delay width. So here's 0 delay width, and let's add some delay width. There you go. So obviously you can go in the middle, but then you have the same for delay 2. And that is the end of this video. As always, thank you so much for being here, and ciao ciao.